The winningest coach in Texas high school football history was honored once again this past week. This time, 67-year-old Phil Danaher was recognized at the Nueces County Commissioner's Court for becoming the winningest coach in Texas high school football history this past season.
It's exciting and it's an honor, but you know, it's something I have to share with so many people because I didn't win those games.
Danaher began his coaching career in 1974 at Dilley High School, then quickly moved to Hampshire Finette before earning the head coaching job at Calallen in 1984. Phil guided the Wildcats to the playoffs every year since 1985. The numbers just keep growing, says Calallen Booster Club Vice President Stephen Floyd. Nationally, Danaher is tied for 8th overall in victories, and he's second amongst active public school coaches nationally, and has put together 27 10-win seasons in the last 31 years. Perhaps one of his greatest victories came in Austin earlier this year when he and his superintendent, Dr. Arturo Almendarez, appealed a 2-game forfeiture due to an ineligible player and got the ruling overturned. With the 2 victories back in place, Phil Danaher had a chance to become the winningest Texas high school football coach of all time in the perfect setting, the District 30 5A Zone Championship game against Flower Bluff. The Wildcats used a big second half to beat the Hornets 31-7.
Going through the breaking the record, you know, week to week to week, these kids stood up to that pressure, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's the final game. You either win it or not there with Flower Bluff. So they've played under a lot of pressure.
As for Danaher, he surpassed G.A. Moore, who coached at Salina and Pilot Point, and others. 427 victories in the book for Danaher.
Couldn't ask for anything better. Really, you know, everything fell into place. You know, it's like it was divine intervention all the way through. You know, things happened just right for us.
What a season it's been for the Calallen Wildcats. In fact, the last time they played in a state final was 11 years ago. In fact, Phil Danaher, who's won 432 football games, the most in the state of Texas, says the number 11 is his lucky number.
We'd lost so many games in the last minute of the semifinals, and this was the 11th time, which is my lucky number. Number I wore in high school, number my son wore in high school. It's also the number of the month I was born. So 11 kept popping up through the whole season. It was crazy.
Phil Danaher will quickly point out that it's not about the wins and losses. It's about helping the kids grow up to become responsible men like his 2 sons, Cody and Wes. Both played at Calallen, with Cody under center at the University of Texas after playing quarterback for his dad for 2 seasons when he wore his father's old number 11.
I did, and it was because of him. I mean, he wore it first, and so I wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Wes went on to SMU, but not before he rushed for close to 9,000 yards at Calallen in 3 seasons, which actually got him in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in Waco.
Being in the Hall of Fame with my dad, it's going to be an honor. In the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame, the one we did in Waco, he's not in that one yet. I think he wants to wait a little while and maybe see how his career turns out, get a few more games like this under his belt, hopefully in the future, and then we'll all be back there and celebrate as a big family.
So the next question had to be asked about Phil's future with Calallen.
I told you the story about what my wife told me, didn't I? This last summer she asked me, she said, if you break the record this year, you going to retire? I looked at her and said, why'd you ask me that? She said, because you're not. She's our assistant superintendent. I coach because I enjoy the kids. I enjoy the game. As long as the good Lord lets me stay healthy and I got my legs, I'll coach as long as I can.
To break the record and for everyone to be behind them as much as they were, it's been an awesome season. I was glad to see quite a few of the games, actually.
At AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Jeff Power, LoneStarGridiron.com. LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.